I have something of a confession to make. Over the last couple of weeks, I've developed a bit of a problem. I may have potentially developed a slight obsession with crocheting octopuses. Now, there is a reasonable or semi-reasonable explanation for this. Well, not this, but crocheting the octopuses themselves. And like, I've honestly been trying to crochet like the next video that I was supposed to be making. Hang on, give me a sec. I have honestly been trying to work on like the next video that I was going to make. I even have like some of it right here. But like in the end, I just end up crocheting octopuses again. So what I thought I would do, because I'm definitely not going to get this project out for at least a couple of weeks, I thought we would just do a sit down vlog style, more chatty kind of video. I really don't have a plan beyond that, but I'm basically making shit up as I go, which honestly is kind of my MO, so it's not really any different from usual. But I thought I would start with the octopus explanation, or perhaps excuse is a better word to use. Now, there is a method behind my madness. So this guy back here, if you saw my like octopus video from a couple of weeks ago, you'll recognize this guy as like the prototype. And at the end of that video, I did say that I wanted to just tweak a few things, make some adjustments, especially to the arms around here. And so that's what I went ahead and did. And that explains this octopus here. So I went in and I fixed up the shaping a little bit, which in my opinion looks a lot better. And then this, when I finish it, will be the bottom for that. But one of the aims of crocheting this octopus as well was checking the pattern and my maths, so I could then proceed to make the written version of the pattern. And sorry, I'm so tangled. There is bloody yarn everywhere. Yarn and octopus arms. All right, so that was this guy. So that was my excuse for making this one. Hang on. So then, of course, I actually had to start on the written pattern, and that is what this one is. So that is the progress I've made on the written pattern version as of filming this. It's unfortunately a slow progress. Like these suckers, at the rate of which I'm like crocheting at the moment, my like, what should we call that? Like stitches per hour, my SPH. My SPH is about, I don't actually know how many stitches are in each arm. I could check that, but I can't be bothered. But one arm of the sucker inclusive round has taken me about like 45 minutes to an hour at the moment. So yeah, progress is being made on the written version of the pattern. It is just very slow. So I actually want to keep you out because I intend to do a little bit of work on that today, which I will bring you guys along for. Now, the other octopus that I've crocheted so far is this one here, and I only crocheted up to this point. Now, the reason for crocheting this one is that there are some alternatives that I'm going to include in the written pattern. So for example, if you don't want to spend a week crocheting the sucker portion, you can eliminate that section, but obviously I need to show how to do that within the written pattern itself, and for that I needed a second octopus. And there's also probably going to be a few other alternative patterns included, such as the eyes. I did work on a second eye pattern, so if I compare those to the ones I originally did, they're the same shape and everything. It's just that this one has some color changes included. So there's that. I don't know if I'm going to be making any other changes at this point. I considered doing something to alter the siphons, but I'll figure that out later. That's why I've left them. So that is you. And then finally, this was probably a stupid, project to take on, but I'm kind of glad that I did because I've been really enjoying it. At the moment, I just have days where I am either confined to my bed or the couch, and I really wanted a project to focus on when that happens. And that turned out to be this project. Now, if you did see that that octopus video, you might recall that I half jokingly said at the end there that I would like to crochet my octopus in like chunky or blanket yarn, just because I thought it would be cool to have a massive octopus. But like realistically, I sort of knew in the back of my mind that I wasn't going to do that because the chenille yarn is just too bloody expensive. Like the yarn that I would normally use for a project that needed chenille yarn is like the Parfait Premier Chunky. And that goes for like almost $10 a skein. And in my experience, the places that I get that from, it very rarely goes on sale. So I was like, that's just too much money. I cannot afford to spend all that money to buy all those skeins just to crochet myself an octopus. But then, Aldi comes along with one of their pre-Mother's Day sales. And this sale just so happens to include yarn. Let me grab it. I'll show you the yarn I'm talking about. And they just so happen to have chenille size 5 yarn for $1.89 a skein. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, yep, it's giant octopus time, baby. So I've never actually purchased yarn from Aldi before. Like I've seen it in the catalogue the last several years. But the problem with, well, what I thought would be the problem purchasing yarn from Aldi is that it is sort of an annual thing. They only ever have it one time a year and the range is pretty limited. So I didn't want to run the risk of purchasing yarn, crocheting a project, losing at Yarn Chicken, and then, you know, having no recourse. I can't go back to Aldi and buy that same yarn again, at least not for a year. So I've never purchased yarn from Aldi before that I can recall, but I thought in this situation it was worth a shot. So yeah, I've grabbed some blue, and there's also a purpley colour that I'm going to use for the underbelly. The only issue I have with the Aldi yarn, and you know what, bugger it, this is supposed to be a chatty video. Let's do like a mini review or my thoughts on the yarn as we go. The only issue I have with this is that again, it's scarce. It only comes out once per year. I wish Aldi had this yarn year round, but also too, the colour selection is incredibly limited. There was this purple colour, this is not purple, this is blue. Yeah, good job, Leigh. You're failing kindergarten colour recognition at the moment. Yeah, there's this blue yarn, there was a purple, there was honestly an ugly yellow. I got it for the eyes because, again, my choices were limited, and that was sort of all they had at the Aldi I went to. But it's just this honestly awful, like, murky mustardy color. I do think I'm going to, you know, use another yarn for the eyes because it's just, yeah, it's really off-putting. I don't like it. Yeah, so the color range is limited, which is really unfortunate because so far out of all the like chenille yarns I've tried, which admittedly is not that many, there's the Parfait Premier Chunky, and there's been a couple I've tried from Spotlight, but I think this one has been the best to work with so far. I don't tend to like working with the chenille yarns just for a multitude of reasons. I don't really like the way it feels when you're working with it. There's always a bit of like friction that I don't tend to notice with acrylic yarns. I don't know if that's just a me problem, but I don't know, it seems more pronounced when I use these chenille yarns. Phone, don't interrupt me. It seems more pronounced when I use these chenille yarns, and usually they shed like crazy, and I do not like that. It just creates a mess, and especially now with like Tilly running around. Tilly is my little ferret, just for anyone who doesn't know. So she runs around in this room, and I don't want her like snorkeling up the little particles of chenille yarn. But in a like twist that surprised me, this yarn has not shed at all. I was completely taken aback as I was like crocheting this in bed. I was waiting for my like bed to become like a landscape blanketed in yarn snow, but that never happened. And for that reason alone, if this yarn was available year round, I would purchase it and I would probably make more projects with chenille yarn. But alas, at this stage, it is a once a year thing. So I don't think I will be, you know, making it a regular feature of my crocheting or on this channel. But it is a nice change of pace. And also it's been really good to have a like one project to focus on when I am like bedridden and I can't do much else. But like, look at the size of this bloody thing. Like obviously I knew it was going to be larger. I don't think I expected it to be quite this bloody large. I am so lucky, or I'm so fortunate that in all my years of crocheting, which I think I'm at like 8 now. I started 8 years ago. I have never once had to purchase stuffing because like all my family know that I make amigurumi, like family, or like basically all my circle of people I know IRL, they know that. And what they do is they always give me their old like pillows, toys, even blankets in some cases, anything that has polyfill stuffing in it and isn't really good enough to donate, I end up with it. So I have never had to purchase stuffing. I have my wardrobe over there. It's like full of old cushions and throw pillows and stuff. So whenever I need to, I keep my stuffing in here now in this drawer here. So whenever I need to fill that up, I just rip open another cushion, chuck it in there, and then repeat that process over and over. However, I think all these bloody octopuses are going to put a bloody big dent in my stuffing stash, especially this bugger here. So yeah, as I was crocheting it, I was definitely thinking, yeah, I am incredibly fortunate that my craft room has become the dumping ground for polyfill, because I reckon I'm going to need as much of it as I can get. So that is the octopus situation. So you, buddy, can hop back there too. I mean, for the most part, I don't expect to finish a lot of these, like chunky guy, blue guy, even this one to an extent. I don't expect to finish them anytime soon because my focus is going to be on getting the written pattern version done. But once that is finished, I am going to like turn my attention back to these ones. Well, I'll have to finish this one too because I'm going to be including portions of it in the written pattern. So you can hop back there. All right, so I do want to work on a little bit of this today. I want to try and get at least another arm of suckers crocheted, so we might do that. And another thing I would like to, hang on, let's hit the rim, bugger. It's been a very long time since I played basketball. I'm a bit out of practice. All right, so you can go up there too because I'll work on you later. Another thing I would like to get done today is the next section of the written pattern. So normally when it comes to my written patterns, I do like to create the template first. So the process is usually I'll like make up a pattern as I go in the video. Then off camera, after that video has come out, I will crochet another version to check my maths, as I've, done with the octopus here. And then I will put together like the template. Then I will crochet the third version in which I'll take the pictures I need to include in the pattern. Now, because this pattern is so bloody big, and I will be honest, occasionally I will hit a little bit of a hurdle in that I don't, or I forget to like press record properly. Like you've seen this happen in my videos. I don't know what it is. I don't think I missed the button. I think I just don't press it hard enough. So sometimes I will have to like go back and retake a photo for a pattern. I am trying my absolute hardest to not have that happen in this situation, just given the size of this pattern. So instead of doing the entire thing at once and then like getting all of my images together, realizing I've missed one and having to go all the way back to the start to retake a picture. Like imagine I have to crochet what am I up to? Like a sixth octopus, a fifth, sixth, whatever. A sixth octopus just to take another couple of pictures. No, thank you. I mean, I would like to, but it's not realistic right now. So what I'm doing is I'm breaking the template down into sections. So the first section that I've done, or the first section I did, was the eyes and the eye sockets. So I did those in one go, took the pictures I needed for that. And when I had all of those and I had double and triple checked that I had all those and then included them in the template, I went ahead and made the underbelly template, like so. But I only did the underbelly template up to the sucker sections. There will be another 2 rounds after that, and those are what I want to make the templates for today. So if I'll just open up the last the last template here. All right, so this is probably the worst way to do that. I could have screen recorded, but So like there is the last template I've got. So you can see I got one picture to go down the bottom here, and that picture is basically round 27 completed, and round 27 is the suckers round. So I need to finish all of those. So I've got 4 arms to go before I can take that picture. And then after that, I will be doing the next 2 rounds. So I would like to make the template for those. All right, so that's probably what I'm going to start off doing here today. And then on top of that, there's just like a couple of little things I would like to do. Something that I've been working on in the background over the last couple of months is my big dragon skeleton project. I've mentioned that before in a few videos, but I do need to crochet a couple of small, I think it's the metatarsals, the bones for the toes. I need to crochet a couple of those, and then I've got all like the thin, narrow pieces done. And after that, it's just, I need to do the vertebrae, the hips, the rib cage, and the skull, which is going to take me probably a lot longer than all the thin, narrow pieces combined. But hey, we're chipping away at it. We're getting there. So I will probably want to do a couple of those if I can. And I would also like to put a little bit of work into this here. I don't want to give too much away about this right now, but I do need to add some length to that before I can do what it is I'm planning to do with it. So we might tackle that today and get one step closer to actually making this video. And on top of that, there's just like a few other little things I would like to do. I don't know if I'm going to get around to them in the video. I might make a start. For example, as of recording this, I needed a present for my mum, and the present that I settled on was this. I'm not going to give this to her, but I thought, wombats being her favorite animal, she might like this. And as an added bonus, I've kind of always wanted to try like diamond painting, and you know, I'm always an advocate of killing 2 birds with 1 stone, so I get to try diamond painting and make my mum a prezi at the same time. The only thing that makes me hesitate, which to be honest I don't think I registered when I bought this, is it says more than 13,000 rhinestones. Like 13,000 is a lot of rhinestones, especially when you've never done diamond painting before. Imagine if I use like 20 rhinestones and I'm like, well, no, I hate this. That would be a bit of a bummer. But yeah, I'm not going to know how much I like or dislike diamond painting until I try that. So we might get around to that a bit later. And then in addition to that, I think I just wanted to do a little bit of planning. I am preparing to record the next amigurumi along. In fact, the piece that I've chosen, the pattern that I've chosen, is sitting on the desk over there. And I thought this video would be a good opportunity just to get like any more feedback from you guys, or those of you who participated in the first one. I did take the feedback I received in that first one, and like I've implemented it in my like process so far. But just if you had any other thoughts, constructive criticism, or things you would like to see included, not included in amigurumi alongs going forward, just let me know what they are down in the comments. But yeah, this one, I don't want to say too much. It's a pattern that I made on this channel, but I haven't really done much or featured it much at all, I don't think. So I might, like, it's easy for me to say because obviously I was the one creating it, but I feel like the Yarnivore initially was like fairly obvious, and also is kind of a clue that it's just like sitting here hanging out in my background. But with this one, I don't think many of you are going to get it. So I look forward to seeing your reactions and guesses to what that is. But I'm also like preparing to make the third one. Like this is not going to come out for quite some time yet, but I do have an idea of what I want to make, and it is going to be a piece that I actually have to design first. And it's something that I've been wanting to make for myself anyway. So I'm kind of excited about it, but I just have to pop it on the back burner for now. I've got 700 octopuses I need to finish first. All right, so yeah, that's probably enough talking for right now. First thing I'm gonna do is, because this is right here in front of me, I'm gonna pop a couple of rows on that. I don't exactly know how many rows I need to do at this point. That is one of those things I have to figure out as I go, but that's not going to be something I worry about today because I'm probably going to do maybe 5 or 6. I don't want to crochet too much here because I do want to save some like crochet, I was going to say hand juice then, but that is probably the worst choice of words I could have picked. What even is that? Never mind. Don't mind me. But yeah, I do want to save some of my like crojo for working on this here. All right. So make sure I've got the correct hook size, because the one thing about having like several different projects on the go is I've got like all my hooks scattered around, because I tend to like to keep my crochet hook the specific size and specific hook that I'm using with the project, which like works in theory when you've got like 1 or 2 projects. It gets a bit ridiculous when there's much more than that. All right, enough yapping. Let's get crocheting. All right, I've crocheted 6 additional rows on my piece, and I think I'm going to call it quits there for now because I do want to be able to crochet some of my octopus. I really love this stitch. I get a bit muddled over the specific order of the words in the name, but I do believe it was called like the zigzag puff spike stitch. I actually first learned it back several weeks ago when I did my like testing new crochet stitches video for this piece here. And I said then that I wanted to turn this into a project, which is what I'm in the process of doing. But the thing is, it makes quite a thick, like this as well, like thick swatch of fabric, which like could work. It could work for my project, but at the same time, it may also be detrimental to assembling it. It's just gonna be one of those cases where I have to like wait and see if it works. Like I'm really hoping it does, because yeah, I like how this is turning out, but I don't know. So you can go there and I'll pop you out of the way for now. But I think in between my bouts of crocheting today, I am going to break that up with just some little tasks that require no crocheting, which means right now I'm going to jump ahead to fixing up my template for the octopus written pattern. And suddenly it's very loud outside. I think my neighbor is on his power tool trip again. But anyway, what I need to do is get up the next template. Actually, I need to create the next template, and I can do that as easy as copy paste. All right, and I was up to round 28, I think 28. No, 27 was the suckers. So the next one I need to do is round 28. So round 28 is broken up into 4 different steps. I've got round 28, A, B, C, and D. So I just need to make sure I get pictures of all stages of the pattern. Honestly, the worst thing about making written patterns, to me at least, is trying to make everything fit nicely without like leaving horrible ugly gaps, or making some images too big and others too small, and like just squashing them into areas they really don't look like they belong. But that is not too bad. So we can get rid of that and that and that. So that is round 28, and then the final round of the underbelly piece should be round 29. Just making some minor adjustments to the image sizes, or a couple of the images, so they all like fit where they're supposed to without looking like a chaotic mess. And then round 29, I just need to write finish off and weave in your yarn end, because we don't need to leave a tail for sewing for this section, because we're going, whoops, that's not what I meant to do, because I sort of changed up the pattern a little bit, and we're going to crochet the underbelly into the body sort of as part of a round of the body pattern. just to make things like that slight bit easier. Done. All right, I can save that. So that is good to go when I get to round 28 and 29. But before that, I need to finish round 27. So now that I've had a little bit of a break, and it was even a little bit longer than you guys saw because I stopped to have a snack. Not that it takes very long to eat a tub of yogurt, but whatever. It was still a little bit of rest for my hands and fingers. So I'm going to grab out you. I need to clean up this mess back here. It's going to start to annoy me. You'd think that because it was behind me, I wouldn't see it. And therefore out of sight, out of mind. But no, I can see it in the viewing screen of the camera. And it's just a mess. A mess of octopus. All right. Speaking of mess of octopus, I am all tangled. I'm going to aim to get one lot of suckers done along this arm, which if the previous ones are any indication, like I said before, it's going to take me like up to an hour. But hopefully, if I can manage it, I'd like to get 2 done. So at least if I can get the next 2 done tomorrow, like that will put me on track for getting started on the body pattern soonest. Which the sooner I can do that, the sooner I can get this pattern out to all of you. All right, where did I put my 4mm hook? I had it here a second ago because I knew I was going to need it. Ba-boom, let's go. I need to have a good stretch after that. Okay, I have finished the first arm, and I think my, what did I call it? My SPH is still accurate to what it has been the last couple of weeks, because that one arm took me just over an hour. I do think I have one more arm's worth of crocheting in me today, but I definitely have to take a break before I do that. So I'm thinking I might set that aside for now, and I might start planning the amigurumi along that I was talking about, because the little pattern I picked out is still sitting over there. I'm looking at it, but obviously you guys don't get to see it because that would spoil the surprise. But what I want to do is just go into the pattern that I have for it and break it down by part, because then I can sort of arrange those parts into what at this stage I think the videos are going to be. Because I do think with the original Amigurumi Along series that the videos were like a decent length. I mean, let me know your thoughts on that, if you thought they were too long, if they were too short. Because to make this as like an enjoyable process and easy along to follow for like as many people as possible, I do want to try and hit that sweet spot where we're not making too many pieces per video, but there is still enough like content and crochet work to like sink your teeth into. It's not just a waste of time. We're not doing like one piece that takes you 30 seconds. So you can feel like you're actually getting somewhere every week that a video comes out. All right, so I've got the pattern up, and I've got to be very careful here not to accidentally A, blurt out what this is, or B, blurt out the pieces, because sometimes, I don't know if this pattern would actually fall into that category, but sometimes specific piece parts can give away what the pattern actually is. If I do that, I'll just either bleep it out or edit it out in editing. So we'll start with a new document here. So this is Amigurumi Along Part 2. And I think I can just copy and paste the pieces from my original pattern. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 parts. So 10 parts, we could potentially break that down into 5 videos, doing 2 parts per video. So if I separate these out, I can do like a larger piece and a smaller piece per video. I think that would work out okay. So if I... just checking out the sizes of my pieces. So that is definitely the largest piece there. Right, so I'm going to put you down that way. I'm going to be very vague here because I'm trying to keep things under wraps. That can stay there, and we might bring up maybe this one. So put you up there, and that can be video 1. All right, so we'll put that under the heading of video 1. And that just leaves us with 2 remaining, and they will make up video number 5. Okay, well, that was easy and didn't take up nearly as much time as I was hoping it would. So I'm going to have to do something else as part of my break. I mean, not that I necessarily have to film my entire break, but you know what, actually, while I think of it, while I have you here, I would like to get your opinion on something else. While I am obviously inundated with octopuses at the moment, I do still want to keep on making large amigurumi. Like, I can't stress how much I have enjoyed this process. I know I mentioned several times throughout that video that like large amigurumi is kind of what I started with. It's what I love doing. And I just haven't done that for like a couple of years, mostly because I was focusing on getting like a video out every week. So my attention was just turned elsewhere. Now that I've acknowledged that that's just not possible for me at the moment, I want to return to my roots and keep making large amigurumi. And I do want to go about that by like designing new things entirely from scratch. So there's this one. The next project I'm probably going to tackle is my 100-hour hippocampus. Some of you might be familiar with the 1 hour and 10-hour versions I did, which I think are in here. There's the 10-hour version. Here we go. And there is the 1 hour version, and I had every intention of doing a 100-hour version to round out that series. So I think that's what I'm going to do next. But in addition to designing new things, and like I have a whole long list of creatures, both real, prehistoric, and like fantasy that I do want to make, I also want to go back to some old designs of mine and rework them because like they're okay for what they were, but I made them I think only like a couple of years into my crochet journey, and I think I've developed my skills a lot since then. So I would like to revisit them and kind of edit them. And the 3 I'm thinking of at the moment are my coelacanths. I'll just put like images up here so I don't have to go and get them right now. But my coelacanth, my elephant, and my horse. Yeah, this one never really stood on its own. Like all of them need to be reworked to varying different degrees. But I want to get your opinion, like if I was going to make a video on one, which animal would you prefer to see? So again, that is the coelacanth, the elephant, and the horse. Now I think YouTube had some like new quiz feature. I don't know, I saw it once when I uploaded one of my recent videos, but I didn't bother delving too deep into it. But I might investigate a little bit further when I upload this video. So if it is a quiz feature that I can include in the video, I will pop that right here. But if not, I might just stick up a poll on my community tab. So if you'd like to vote for which creature you would like to see featured in a video, then you can just go ahead and do that. I might even link it down in the description to make things easier. But yeah, so in my future, there's definitely going to be a lot of making big amigurumi, and if the octopus situation is any indication, I'm going to be making multiple versions of all these amigurumi. So the crocheting of them is going to be like glacial apparently, but I'm having fun. I am genuinely having fun making these like big ass octopuses, so I look forward to the challenge. All right, I am just going to have another bit of a break, then we're going to come back and do a little bit more crocheting on here. I want to keep chipping away at this because like every single little stitch gets me closer to that finish line, and I need to finish this written pattern because it's been like a couple of weeks now and I don't like making you guys wait that long. But again, my excuse is it's a big ass octopus. All right, break, then more crochet. is the last stitch. Okay. Oh, I wanted to get so much more done today in this video, but I think I'm gonna have to call it quits there. I've got like one spoon left. So, like, not a bad effort overall. I am a couple of steps closer to finishing this piece for the written pattern, which I'm happy about. Not so happy that I didn't get around to doing all the other stuff, like the diamond painting, for example. I was kind of looking forward to giving that a go, but perhaps I can just make that its own video. I honestly don't know very much about diamond painting. I just remember I saw it once and I thought, that looks kind of interesting. I'd like to give that a go. And that is basically the extent of my knowledge. I don't know if there'd be like enough there to make an entire video, but I'm willing to give it a shot if you're interested in seeing that. So I'm going to pop you there. The other thing I didn't get around to doing today was any work on my like dragon skeleton, but there's no real rush for that. That is definitely like my background project at the moment. I did want to get it completed like in the first few months of 2026, but that's just not realistic. Ferret is, of course, interrupting me. Hello. Why do you have to start making noise the moment that I start filming? You're nice and warm. Her new favourite spot to sleep is in my stuffing box here. She likes to climb up there and get in through the handle, the hole for the handle, and sleep in there, don't you? You lazy thing. You're a bit lazy. But outside physically crocheting, I am glad that I got a portion of the written pattern done, as well as did my breakdown for the amigurumi along video, which I'm hoping to start filming that next week. We'll just have to see like how things play out. But as I mentioned in the first amigurumi along video, I would like to film the entirety of that series. So that way I know how much like yarn you need. I can break all that information down for you guys before I actually start putting the videos out. So while I plan to start working on it soon, you may not see it for a couple of weeks to months. You really are very noisy. You really are very noisy. Come here. But I will have that out ASAP for you guys. You're going to go back to sleep, are you lazy? All right, well, now that you're here, you can help me do. And today's featured creator on the hookup is HamsterHanks, and he says, I'm a fairly new crocheter who likes crocheting small amigurumi and clothing. Well, that was a short and sweet description, although given me how long it's taken to get through the hookup list, I don't know if fairly new crochet is applicable anymore, but that's what it says, so that's what I'm going to read out. And if you would like to check out all of the HamsterHanks links, they will be down in the description, and so will a link for the hookup form if you would like to apply for yourself. And when it comes to my octopus army back there, I have every intention of finishing the one I need for the written pattern first, and then the one I sort of also need for the written pattern, but to a lesser degree. But after both the ones I need for the written pattern are complete, I am going to finish off the rest. First, this one, because that one is mostly complete, but the big guy here, I am definitely going to be keeping that as my down for the count project. So whenever I'm stuck in bed on the couch, whenever I'm practically immobile, that's going to be my go-to projects for then. So I don't really have a time frame for when that one is going to be finished. I don't know if any of you would be interested in seeing the octopus army when it is fully assembled, but if you are, let me know and I can make that happen. You might be waiting a little while, but it is something that I can always do. And that is pretty much all I have for you guys in this video. I did want to do a lot more today, but hey, I got a bit accomplished. I need to be happy with what I did achieve. Hopefully I'll be able to put in a little bit more work into the project you saw earlier, the black, the orange and pink one, and I'll be able to get that out in a couple of weeks, but that remains to be seen. So for now, I will just say thank you all for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Share it if you think it's worth sharing. And I will see you in the next one. Now I need to clean all this up. I just don't have the energy. Maybe if I turn the lights off and shut the door, I can just forget about it until tomorrow. Tilly, can you clean it up for me? No, I think she's far too settled in to do any cleaning. Yeah, you. Yeah, you. Miss Ferret. Oh.